Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for Advisor Stream's webinar. My name is Sash Khanna, and I'm the Director of Platform Management at WorldSource Wealth Management and IDC WEN. I'm thrilled to host today's session this will provide you a walkthrough of how to engage, educate, and empower your clients using Advisor Stream, the best-in-class content marketing platform. This platform allows you to leverage credible and engaging content and share it through automated multi-channel communication like email, social media, website, blogs, and e-newsletters, saving you time and creating capacity for you guys. We had about 85 advisors who have registered for the webinar. Thank you again for joining us. We'll kick off the session very soon, but I just wanted to walk you guys through some housekeeping rules. With Zoom webinar, we cannot see you, and we have put all of you on mute. If you are having issues, I find the best solution is to exit the meeting and then join back again. This seems to resolve most of the issues. We welcome you to engage with the host, the panelists, and each other using the chat functionality. And we encourage you to submit your questions in the Q&A box by clicking the Q&A button. We will be checking and answering as many questions as possible, time permitting. Any unanswered questions will be followed up via an email. And if you are, I would just say that in the end, we will provide you with an email address just in case you want to set up or schedule a one-on-one demo of the platform. And I would like to welcome Kevin, Rebecca, and Ragul from Advisor Stream. Kevin has helped countless advisors and firm drive growth, revenue, and retention with innovative digital marketing and client engagement solutions. During his career, Kevin has worked for both large and boutique wealth management firms while developing a rich background in new media, big data, and web-based services. Kevin was the co-founder of Advisor Stream, and now Advisor Stream is owned by Broadridge. And without further ado, I would like to invite Kevin to lead the webinar. Over to you, Kevin.
Thanks, Sash, and thanks for having us, and thank you all for joining us today. I'll jump in very quickly into our topic, Mastering Content Marketing Automation. And that's what we're focused on at Advisor Stream, and something that Sash has been very focused on in her career at multiple firms. We've had the pleasure of working with her and evolving the product and our servicing of the product with Sash and WorldSource. WorldSource is a longtime client, and again, we want to thank all of you for that. Today, I'm going to cover 8 stats, and I'll do those quickly. We won't spend all our time on stats, and then we will jump into a quick demo to illustrate some of those statistics and some of the core messages we have today in the webinar about automation. And then we'll open it up with a short demo and then some questions. Well, we hope to leave some time for some questions. I have Rebecca McMurray here and Ragul Chari with me, also been working with them forever in building the product and working with large and small clients in multiple countries. So with that said, I am going to jump right in, if I can. Okay. So 8 key stats about investor engagement. And, we're going to talk about why investor engagement is so important. It's really important for 2 criteria, two things that we call our North Star, if you're allowed to have more than one North Star. And that is growth. So acquisition of new assets, new clients and assets, and retention of those clients and assets. I don't need to tell any of you on this call that it's quite a bit more expensive to get a new client than it is to keep a client. So we want to make sure retention is high and that we have an automated stream of new business coming in, the top of the funnel, as we always hear. So the first stat is an interesting one. It means it's a very fertile ground for advisors right now, danger for some, and opportunity for others. And that is almost a third of investors are thinking about leaving their current advisor or service, if it's not an advisor and a robo-advisor. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So 1 in 3 investors out there is open to working with you or a new advisor. Why do they leave in the first place? We get this question, and it is very clear. There are many studies that show this. This is a Salesforce study, but McKinsey has done similar ones, as have others. Vanguard has done one, so have other folks. But the top reasons that your clients will leave you, I think the first one is going to be no surprise. And the third most cited reason an investor has left their current advisor or the advisor they're with is bad advice or perceived bad advice. Very important difference there. You may be giving the best advice in the world, but when someone perceives it as bad advice, they may leave. It's very hard to control that. The top reason, no chalk here, fees. This has been true forever. I would also say this is perceived high fees. The fees you charge may not be high at all, but again, if a client perceives them as high, that can be an issue. So these are the two of the top three reasons. The third and highest or most cited reason, high fees. The second most common reason that an investor will leave is less obvious, I think. It's a lack of communication. And interestingly, this of those three is the only one you can fully control, you, the advisor. So lack of communication is critical, regular, consistent communication is critical. And if you don't provide it, you do run the risk of losing clients who feel you're just not in contact with them at a high enough frequency. And investors do want to hear from you. We get this question too. If lack of communication is a very second highest reason investors leave an advisor, what is enough communication? Is it quarterly? Is it monthly? Is it weekly? And we did a study with Dow Jones. And in that study, we did that in Canada, America, and the UK. The same answer came in all markets, all types of investors, regardless of age or wealth, and that is weekly. So even though some of us, I've been in the industry a long time, used to think that monthly was the right cadence. In fact, we are in a much more digital world today where the frequency of touch points need to be higher or people feel disengaged with you, leading to retention issues. And here's another fallacy that younger investors don't want advisors. They want a robo-advisor or an automated service, Wealthsimple or Acorns or whatever it is, depending on what country we're talking about. And the reality is it's not true. In fact, it's polar opposite of the truth. The younger the investors are, almost correlates perfectly. The younger an investor is, the more guidance they want. So if you look at Gen Z, millennials, and even Xers, younger Xers, which include myself, we want guidance. Our whole lives have been guided. We get help for school. We get all kinds of different apps and training on almost everything we do. And that's not true with older generations. So younger investors want advisors. So wanted to bring that up. Very interesting stat. And what are the top reasons investors choose to work with you? Again, this really depends on age. And in fact, I love this stat. Again, this comes from that Dow Jones study. It showed very clear divide. Younger investors work with you or an advisor because they're recommended. So referrals, just like always in my time, my 25 plus years in financial services building software, recommendations, recos and referrals really were the number one way of building a business. Turns out that's still the case today. And that is even more true than it ever was with people under 55 and under. And then when you look at older investors, baby boomers and the silent generation, they really go and want to work with advisors. They don't feel they have the knowledge they need. Products have changed. The markets have changed. They were probably mutual funds exclusively at one time in their life. And we know now they've migrated to ETFs and other types of products. So knowledge for older folks and recommendations for younger investors. And this is a critical one. It really encapsulates the whole topic of engagement and why it's so important. Really engaged clients will refer 5 times more than people who just don't feel they hear from you regularly enough, or when you do communicate with them, you're not communicating with content that's relevant to them and they don't find it engaging. So you get a 5x in referrals. And you actually we don't have it in the stat, this is a Vanguard study. In the same study, we saw that engaged investors invest twice as much. So share of wallet is much larger. So absolutely critical to engage your clients and your prospects and make sure you have engaging content on all social channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and as well as your website and in your communications. That content is critical. Frequency is critical, and the quality, credibility of that content is critical. And the result from delivering those things is huge. Just two more stats here. This is a very recent study. This is the 5th annual study we've done with advisors, and advisors with a defined marketing approach drive higher growth. So people who have a structured, systematic way of marketing, which AdvisorStream does well, you folks at WorldSource are truly lucky that you have these tools given to you, put in your hands by Sash and by the whole marketing team at WorldSource. You guys are way ahead of many people. You've understood automated marketing for a lot longer than a lot of other firms. We see firms catching up, but this is a great thing. We think, Sash, and I think you should as well, but you have all the tools you need to have a defined marketing approach. We give you the tools in an omni-channel way, meaning we're going to cover absolutely every possible way you can grow your brand, grow your thought leadership, and in our view, the most important thing, grow assets under management and increase retention. So you generate more leads, you onboard a lot more clients, and you're much more likely to convert those leads that you capture when you do have a defined marketing approach and a system like you guys have today. And then the last stat is, and this does not apply to you guys, but almost 8 out of 10 advisors have clearly communicated they are losing business, or they feel they've lost business and they continue to lose business because they don't have the tools that you guys do have in place today, the digital tools you need to operate in today's digital world. Again, just quick overview before I jump into the demo portion of this. I should be around 15:15 now. I want to spend 10 minutes on the demo and then open it up. But you guys understand this. We really are the only platform that truly puts your clients and prospects in the center of your marketing efforts. We make sure that irregardless of how a client or prospect wants to engage with you, wants to consume your content, be educated by you, that AdvisorStream is doing that. So to be specific, we support content for your websites, as many as you want, blogs, as many blogs as you want from your account, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. So we are really, truly omni-channel. And as you folks know, the content we're delivering to all of those channels is of the highest quality. It is premium, truly premium, paywalled, copyright protected content that Canadians, only have 8% of Canadians have access to. Even one of the publishers that you have access to in our system, and you have access to over 20, and only 2% of Canadians have access to more than one. So with AdvisorStream, you truly are opening the gates to really high quality, credible, current educational content. And we have enough content that we can hyper personalize that, make sure you're sending the right content to the right client at the right time. And again, content is critical in marketing. It's interesting to me. I've been in this space a long time, pretty much my whole adult life. And what I've learned is at the end of the day, no matter how much effort you put into marketing, whether that's social media marketing, website marketing, email-based marketing, the quality of the message and the content accompanying that message is the difference between high ROI and low ROI, and frankly, a waste of your time. And time is money. Automation saves you time. The quality of the content will make sure that time that is spent, whether it's automated, your marketing, or you're doing some of it more manually, the quality of the content in the eyes of your client and prospect is the differentiation between success and failure. At AdvisorStream, we work with the publishers in a way that no one else does. We, in any country, and that is we're fully integrated with all the top publishers, the ones you just saw on the slide ahead. So that means, what does that mean? That means that we can co-brand you, we can get rid of paywalls, get rid of ads, we can make sure that we have the ability to contact you, book a meeting with you directly from every single piece of content, whether that's an article from Wall Street Journal, a video from Globe and Mail, or an infographic from The Economist. All of that content is co-branded with you, no ads, no paywalls, extremely good reading experience, free to your clients and prospects, right? So that's what you're seeing on the screen here. With that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment and then pull up an AdvisorStream account, and we're going to jump in there and do a very quick demo. But before I do that, I am going to stop here for one moment, ask any questions that might be there by anyone. You can ask myself or Rebecca, who we have on the line, but I think I'll handle them probably if there's not too many before I jump into the demo. Okay, so I'm just going to log into an actual account. I'm not using a WorldSource account because I didn't ask for permission. I meant to do that with someone earlier today, but that's okay. I'm using a US account in this case, Sarah, and this is someone who works for a firm called Mass Mutual. So it's a US client, exactly the same tool sets as you have. In fact, you have a couple more tools at WorldSource that they don't have. But what I wanted to focus on today is a very specific thing, and that is the lead generation that AdvisorStream automates for you. By automating delivery of content, we are able to capture a lot of leads. We do a lot more than capture leads, which I'm going to show you. But I do want you folks to remember that we do capture a lot of leads. We automate the top of the funnel. And we know this account, I've talked to Sarah and have permission to do this account, but she's produced 56 leads. She's converted 14 of those already this year. And she's also got offline leads. This is something I wanted to mention. Let us automate the nurturing of your leads that you capture elsewhere. Yes, AdvisorStream will capture your leads as long as you're automating your social media and you're posting enough. Those leads will come into your leads dashboard, which is what you're seeing here. But other leads, people you meet in person or at physical events or at other digital events you might be throwing, remember to enter them into your AdvisorStream account so we can nurture them and convert them the same way we convert all of the automated captured leads that we automate for you. That's one thing I've noticed is a lot of advisors haven't been doing that. So I just want to let you know, AdvisorStream, yes, will capture, nurture, and convert leads, but any other leads, bring them in and let us get involved with that nurturing process. So right off the top, we can see 56 leads. We are going to take a look at Sarah's automation, her settings in a minute. This is the result of those settings, so we will look at those settings. But before we do that, I just wanted to kind of jump into here and just go to the very first lead. So here's a lead that was captured for Sarah, and it was captured with the Wall Street Journal article. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with the leads dashboard. If you're not, please go to your leads dashboard. Actually, I was delivering a presentation in the US last week in Ohio, and there were about 400 people in the room, all also using this automated platform to save their time and money. And I did ask how many people log into their account and check their leads out regularly, and it was wild. About 30% of the room that I was presenting to were AdvisorStream users, and only half of those had logged into their leads dashboard. And there was a lineup of folks after that presentation, bringing me their leads dashboard, and there was one gentleman, Gary, and he had 181 leads that he did not know about. And, it's quite a moment. So for everyone out there, please log into your leads. Every time we capture a lead for you, automatically you get an email-based alert telling you who your new lead is and to please log in and check your leads. But I would suggest logging in once a week anyway. We can do the rest. It's all automated. We're going to take a look at that automated social scheduler in about 5 minutes. But I suggest, if you have time, log in once a week and just check your leads dashboard. So for Sarah here, and Sarah's from the Boston area, I believe. Let me just open up this Wall Street Journal article and see if I can tell. 716, I'm not sure actually. I think that is Boston. So, Sarah had posted, or rather in an automated way, we had posted this Wall Street Journal article to Sarah's social media. And you can see she uses LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And that's wonderful. She captured this lead, Brian Taylor. And Brian Taylor immediately, as you all know, started receiving the weekly communication on Fridays. And Brian Taylor, the lead, started to read a lot of content every week. So very engaged with Sarah, even though Brian Taylor's not quite a client yet, although I believe this is one of the ones that she's converted. I should double check. But when I look at that lead, I see the phone number for this investor. He Brian Taylor has said, here's my email address, here's my first name, last name, here's my phone number, please communicate with me. I read this Wall Street Journal article on your Facebook account, and I know you're an advisor, and I want you to send me your content. So that's a warm lead. This is someone who knows what you do, engaged with one of your digital properties that was automated with our content, said yes, had the opt-in come up, and said, yes, I do want to receive your content. It's of value to me. And much more importantly, or as important, we don't just capture that lead, right? And I hope you all know this, but we then use machine learning and we create consumption profiles, okay? And we now monitor what this lead, Brian Taylor, is reading and watching and consuming. And the system is pretty smart. It'll say, hey, we're very closely watching and learning what is important right now to Brian Taylor. And right now, Brian is very focused on taxes, no surprise. Mortgages, also kind of no surprise. And the markets, again, no surprise. They're roaring, but it looks a little bit worrisome. So he's probably wanting to read a little bit there. So we capture that lead in an automated way. Then we automatically create a consumption profile in the background who's doing the work for you. And in an automated way, we learn what is important to each and every prospect. Okay, because they are all different. And in real time, we're learning and we're adjusting what we know is important to Brian. So the system says, okay, Brian wants to hear from you. Brian is consuming a lot of content. Here are the topics that are important to Brian. And then the system takes one more step and says, let me go out and curate with algorithms. So in an automated way, all the very best next content communication, next best touch point for Brian, to get Brian from prospect to on the phone to finally into the client status. So we can see we've now picked the system has algorithmically curated content for Brian, and it says, hey, he's interested in mortgages, he's interested in the markets and tax, etc. And so we see that there are 4 articles that are specifically about those things. And now the only job is to come in, pick one of these. It really doesn't matter which one, but let's send this Bloomberg video, or maybe it's an article, and say, Brian, thanks again for receiving my weekly communications. I'd love to jump on the phone for 5 minutes whenever you have time. Would you have time next week, right? That's up to you. We do the first steps, but you do the last step, which is the closing. So we want to nurture this person, educate him, show Brian Taylor, the lead, how important he is to you, and that you're making an effort to engage with him with content that is actually important to him. And that is why we have a conversion rate of 12.5% on average. That means, we're converting at least 12.5. We've seen much higher percent of leads captured following the automated nurturing process. We're converting at a very, very high rate. So again, our 2 North Stars are retention and new clients and new client assets, right? And this is how we do that. Now, you might say to yourself, how do you capture so many leads? Again, 80% of leads come from social media. So it is absolutely critical that you have all of your social media accounts connected to your Advisor Stream account. So let's take a quick look at that. Once you do that, we can automate the rest. So let's just see. And this is interesting. This is why I wanted to show this account as well, is you'll notice that Sarah only has Facebook and Twitter connected, not LinkedIn. Okay, she's doing really well. Yes, she has 56 leads from us that we've automatically, in an automated way, captured for her. And you notice Brian Taylor, the first lead we captured, that was captured on Facebook. Well, I point this out. You might say 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but it is bad because LinkedIn is the most productive network for capturing leads, high quality leads that have high conversion rates. So, Sarah needs to connect that LinkedIn account. So the second thing I would ask you, yes, check your leads dashboard on a weekly basis, but while you're in your account, please make sure that these are connected. The social media companies, they do become unconnected from time to time, and you have to reconnect your account. Now, we have great relationships and partnerships and integrations with these companies, but we still see typically on a yearly basis, LinkedIn falling off or unconnecting. So please, the one thing we ask, let us do the automation, let us do the heavy lifting, but in your account setup, when you go check your lead dashboard, please check that all your social media accounts are still connected. And so this is in the settings area, and it's the second setting area. The third settings area is also really important. It's the automated scheduler, the social scheduler. So this is how we can guarantee keeping your top of the funnel active. And that is by automating posts to all of your social networks and your website, okay? And this is what Sarah's doing. Sarah's not overly aggressive. Sarah's got 56 leads from us, but she's only posting once a day, okay? That's enough. What I do like about Sarah's automated social scheduler is that at least she's posting every day. Now, if you're in growth mode, post more than once a day, okay? Because people get feeds from their social updates from their social media feeds, etc. But I would suggest posting more when you're in true growth mode, but never posting less than once a day, okay? When people show up on your channels, your out or your inbound channels, where you're waiting for them to come into your website, where you're waiting for them to visit your LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, you don't know when they're coming, okay? Email, you're in control. You can decide when you're going to send content and when clients or prospects are going to see that. But when you're capturing new prospects, new leads and prospects, you don't know when they're coming. So you need to every day, at least once a day, be posting fresh content. And you can see she's fully automated. For those of you out there, please, after this webinar, go and check your automation level. I would highly recommend going to the most automated setting. We see correlation with the people who are fully automated have the best ROI. They have the most new leads and they have the most highest engagement rate. So please go to highest level of automation. If you really want to control and see everything that's going out and maybe tweak that, go down to semi-automated. But we're at well over 90% of our advisors are now fully automated. And those folks are the ones who get the highest ROI rates. And then, as you know, you get to choose which publishers you respect, which publishers you want to align yourself with, co-brand yourself with. We feel all of these are the most credible publishers available today for you folks, but you still are in control. Well, Sash and the WorldSource team has brought you powerful tools. They allow you to customize them. Okay, not all firms do. It's pretty amazing. So please go in and choose the publishers you want and deselect the ones you may not like. Some people think New York Times is too left-wing. Some people think, Financial Times is too sophisticated. So you can go in there and choose them. You can see that this advisor has only selected a few. She has not selected a lot. But she's doing extremely well. And then finally, in the automation section, you get to choose what content topics are important to you. This really allows an advisor to choose what type of content they want talked about. Military is not selected here, nor is health insurance. That's because Sarah doesn't do health insurance and she, for whatever reason, doesn't want military. These are just a few. I would differ from Sarah's selections, but it's not my business. It's Sarah's business. And she's doing extremely well. So I really can't comment over heavily, other than asking her to make sure that her LinkedIn gets reconnected to watch those lead capture numbers go up. But I wouldn't tell her how to run her business or what content is important to her clients and her prospects. So nor would I for you. So you get to choose what content you want. So I'm going to leave the settings area now. Let me do that. And I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Remember, you can just click this icon to get access to any of the modules in the platform. And I'm going to go to clients. And the reason I'm going to do that, or contacts, is because, as we said at the start of the webinar, there's two things that are critical that you want to automate as much as possible. One is lead capture. We spent some time on that. The second is your clients, your existing clients. We want to make sure 100% that your clients are hyper engaged, because the more engaged they are, the less likely they are to leave you. Remember, second most common reason investors leave you is lack of communication or perceived lack of engagement. And the second reason we want to make sure all clients are highly engaged, is they tend to increased share of wallet they give to you. And a lot of those folks, when they're super engaged, will just choose to work with one advisor instead of a set or a few advisors. So then you get the full share of wallet. So let's look at where you can see how engaged your clients are. And that's in the contacts area. And then you click engagement activity. And I'll just go to this first client of Sarah's. And you'll see that this client has read 481 articles. And by the way, that's not super high. I've looked at a lot of the World Source accounts where we have some of the advisors' clients reading 800 and 900 and over 1,000 pieces of content over a number of years. So this is called hyper engagement, okay? When you've got people reading, in this case, 500, it might not just be articles, videos, infographics, but they're consuming almost 500 pieces of content co-branded with you. They could be sharing that content. So I can say, in this area of the platform, I can really see what that automation is doing for me in the background and saving me a ton of time. So I can see the very last communication that went out, which was last week, and I can flip through that, just hitting next, and see what content was in that communication. And Nick, I can see all the communications from every week over all of time, and you can see this person's been with us for a long, long time. And you can see that she has very high engagement rates. Now, one step further in this area of the platform. So you can see all the weekly communications, you can flip through them, or you can simply say, just show me all the content that this person has consumed, okay? So we see wide range of content, 500 articles, videos, and infographics. But we can also see, do they share it? And hey, here we go. Billy Shaw, who is this client of Sarah, shares content a lot. So in fact, Billy Shaw shared this New York Times article many, many times. This is the kind of client you love. This is the kind of client who reads something good and wants everyone else to see it and then sends that article to their friends and coworkers and families. And remember, I can just open this New York Times article. This is what their friends and family and coworkers are seeing. They're seeing you. They're not just seeing the New York Times article. They're seeing you, your team, how to get a hold of you, how to book a meeting with you, scheduling a meeting. They can learn about you and follow you. So this is a very powerful way. Do you remember at the start, we were looking at the 8 statistics? One of those statistics that I really focused on was that engagement, that when you send really great content to your clients, that they will refer you 5 times more. Well, here's a case of Billy Shaw, who is a client, now a client, was a prospect we captured a long time ago, but Billy is now a client. Billy is now sharing this content, and you can see that many times. Here's a Globe and Mail article. This American is sharing Canadian content because it's quite good, but typically shares US content, Barron's, New York Times, Forbes. But we don't care what content they're sharing. We care that they are sharing content. They are referring you to many, many people and creating net new leads. And remember what I showed you with that automated hyper-personalization for leads? We do that for your clients as well. If I had a client like Billy Shaw, who was sharing a ton of content with other people, I would probably log into this area once a quarter and pick one extra piece of content and send it to Billy and say, hey, Billy, I thought you might really like this article. I want to say thanks for your business, and I just hope you're liking my communications. But you know he's liking your communications because he reads them all, 500 pieces of content, shares dozens and dozens of pieces of content, creating new leads for you. And remember, our system is going to, again, of the 500 content engagements, consumptions that Billy has done, we know very, very accurately what's important to Billy. And our system doesn't want you to waste your time trying to figure that out on all of your 200 or 300 clients. We can do that in a millisecond for you, tell you what's important with every lead and every single client. And so Billy is focused on planning, economy, wellness, and a number of other things. But again, we automatically tell you, here's the perfect content for this client. This is an important client. He's a referral machine for you. He's super engaged. So you want to thank people like Billy. And I'll just go to the next one. The next client of this advisor, almost 400 views. Does this person consume a lot? Yes. Do they share? Yes. Again, they're sharing a lot of content. So this person is creating referrals. And again, we can tell you exactly what's really important to this client. I want to go back to one more thing, and then I'm going to pause. I'm going to go back again in my account to leads. Why? I want to flip through the leads that we've captured or that Sarah has captured, because they're not all captured on social media, but about 8 in 10 are. And I want to look to see if Billy Shaw has created any leads. Billy Shaw, who I just showed you, is the #1 most engaged client of Sarah's. So let's go back to leads. And if I open up the leads dashboard, I'm going to see those 56 leads that we've captured. We know Brian was captured on Facebook, but let's go down to another one. Let's go to Linda. No, but I did take a look at this. Let's see here. That was captured on a website. This is on the website. Okay, so this one's by Billy Shaw. Now this looks like a family member. So Billy Shaw has shared this Barron's article about being rich doesn't mean smart to his probably a family member, same last name. Okay, there you go. Billy Shaw is creating leads for Sarah, but I'm just going to go down a little further and see if there's any more by Billy Shaw, because I did notice this earlier. This is quite fascinating. There you go, Billy Shaw. Billy Shaw has forwarded this Globe and Mail article, The Art of Spending Money, to someone named Kelly Zielinski, and Kelly has opted in. Kelly said, you know what? I do want to read that article, has given her first name, last name, and yes, phone number. So Billy Shaw, a client of just to prove our point on engagement and automation, by sending out automated communications, we see that Billy Shaw has created a number of leads for Sarah. So engagement, automated engagement, using automation across all channels. These things work. They work for Sarah. They can work for you. All you have to do is make sure you're turning on all the automated capabilities of AdvisorStream. And I showed you those earlier. They're in the settings area. So just one final thing before I open up for questions. So again, and if you go to settings, account settings here, please, when you have time, go in and make sure that these are connected. I'm personally going to give Sarah a call today and tell her to connect her LinkedIn because it's driving me crazy. And then social scheduler, make sure you're at least doing what Sarah's doing, at least posting to all of your channels at least once a week. Okay. And with that, I think I'm coming up to Q2 when we're supposed to open it up for some questions. So I'll stop there, Sash. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, turn my video back on, and just open it up for any questions.
We do have some really good questions here. The first one is, how do we share contacts and how is that data protected? And it is stored in Canada, I can assure you that.
Yeah, so great technical question. 10 years ago, that was even a bigger question for firms. Actually, I would say privacy concerns are growing, but the technology has gotten a heck of a lot better. We've gone through all the what's called InfoSec or info security. For any of you people who work at a big company, you'll know how incredibly robust that is. We are probably the largest fintech company on the planet now, not AdvisorStream, are the acquirers of AdvisorStream. We work with pretty much every bank in the world in 66 countries. So we take privacy extremely seriously, but we always did it at AdvisorStream well before being acquired by Broadridge. And we follow all privacy laws in all countries. In fact, we hired Canada's privacy officer as our person to review our whole systems. The day she retired, she retired as Canadian's privacy officer. But we didn't just take it that we were following CAN-SPAM and all those other spam and communications laws and privacy laws as well. We actually hired the Canadian privacy officer to review our systems. So we take it entirely seriously. Have never had a single event of losing any PII or personally identifiable information.
The next question is it possible to upload and share new or unique content through the AdvisorStream platform as well?
Great question. I am going to go share my screen for 1 second so I can show it. So just bear with me again for 1 moment. And I'll ask Rebecca if she can see my screen, or Sash if you can see my screen. Okay, I'm going to log out of this account and go to my own. There we are, great. And once I'm in there, just bear with me, here we go. So for all of you folks out there who want to share content, yes, the answer is yes. You can upload your own unique content. It does need to be compliance approved, and every firm we work with has slightly different ways of doing that. But I will say that in your dashboard, and I don't know if this is active yet, Sash, and we can talk about this offline. We do have a module now where you can click it and upload it automatically from your own account, or you can send it into AdvisorStream, info@advisorstream.com. Send in your videos, your infographics, your articles that you read or create, and we will upload it directly into your account. White labeled service, no cost to you. And again, that's been all worked out by Sash here for you guys. So the answer is a big resounding yes, but we've now built an automated way of doing that. And we can talk about that at a later date.
I just want to add that before we send anything to upload, it would be available to only that advisor who has sent it to us, and it will go through proper compliance workflows before it gets uploaded and available for you guys to share through advisors.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Any other? I think there was one more question.
There are a few others.
Okay, go ahead.
When you say conversion rate for leads is 12%, would that be for investment clients or both investment and insurance clients?
That's a good question too. I will be honest, we don't differentiate. We should. And I think we could. Again, that's a great product roadmap idea. So whoever said that, thank you, because that would not be very hard to do. But today the answer is it's out of all advisors across all clients. Okay, so it's not product specific. So I can't answer the question. The 12.5 is from leads to some form of clients.
Thank you. The next one is, and I think this is being asked by a couple of them, will this webinar be available for viewing later? Yes, we are recording this session and we will share the recording with all the registrants later this week. And just to add to that, there are a couple of questions where they're asking if they can set up one-on-one appointments to learn more about the platform. Yes, Rebecca will be putting in her email address in the chat. So anyone who wants to set up a one-on-one demo or one-on-one appointment to learn more about the platform, they can reach out to Rebecca directly.
Yeah, and if there's a lot of people, Rebecca, maybe you and I could do a one-on-one or one on a small amount, not one on many, but one on 5 or 6 or whatever it is. Otherwise Rebecca could assign it to one of the other staff, more junior staff on hers, but it would either be Rebecca and myself if that works. Okay.
And I just noticed that Rebecca has put in her email address in there. So in case you guys want to take that from there, otherwise we will share that information in the email communication as well that goes out. Kevin, the next question is, for certain content, say health insurance, can you select only Canadian content? Many insurance products and tax rules are very different in Canada and US.
Yeah, okay, very good question. So the way AdvisorStream is configured, and this is a good question a good answer, I think, for everyone if this isn't known, and it's not something that is obvious to anyone, but the content in your library is Canadian. When I say that is we have Canadian content team, US content team, UK content team, and the publishers there is crossover in the publishers. So for example, Wall Street Journal is in your library, but we read everything, we analyze everything, and we don't pick Wall Street Journal articles that are going to talk about products that are only US based or even at all US based. So Wall Street Journal does write, just like Forbes, just like New York Times, they actually write content aimed at their .ca or their Canadian subscribers. We use all that content, but then we do use content from America and from the UK, Irish Times, Guardian in the UK, that is suitable for Canadian investors, meaning it doesn't talk about products, it doesn't talk about laws, doesn't talk about policies. So it's something more generalized that would be of value to your clients here in Canada. But it is a good question, but we avoid anything that's going to confuse either side. Same thing in the UK. The UK library is very, very different than a Canadian or US, and the US library is different than others.
I also wanted to add that it is vetted by AdvisorStream, but then when we receive it, we review the content ourselves as well. And it goes through the marketing approval and then the compliance approval before it gets to the advisor. So there is 3 levels of approval that the content goes through. And I will be very frank that we do see insurance content sometimes that is catered to the US market, and
Okay.
we vet that
Yeah.
content out. Sometimes we might feel that it's applicable just from a knowledge perspective for our advisors as well. And that's where the advisor can jump in and decide whether it is applicable to their practice or not. And I will be very upfront that because this is a manual work, there is always a chance of error there.
Yes,
so
of
if there
course.
is human error, then it's usually we try to be as thorough as we can, but there is always a chance of human error there.
Yeah. And I just like to add 2 quick things on that. So first off, if you guys are seeing a lot of that, please let us know, because that means Sash is doing way too much work, and so is the compliance folks. And Sash too, if you're seeing too much of that, please let us know, because it's our fault, not your Sash's fault. And we can be careful. So if you are seeing some of that, we'd like to get rid of it, all of it. So please let us know. And the other thing is, it is a large library. It's 82,400 and something as of yesterday, growing 300 a week. It is the largest investor-focused library in the world by far, and accelerating in its lead quickly. There can be, let's be honest, there can be mistakes. There's humans here. We do a lot with machine learning and AI, but at the end of the day, we have every single piece of content reviewed by humans, but it's a lot of content.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah. Yes, there are a few.
Okay, cool. That's good. That's great.
Are there other social networks available, or just the 3 that were shown?
We are, Rebecca, are we allowed to talk about Instagram? I know we are looking at Instagram. I'm not sure if we're allowed to talk about that.
I haven't discussed it from a compliance perspective yet, but the cat's out of the bag now. We can share it's on our roadmap.
Yeah, so
I would
we are
say
looking
it is
at
on the
Insta.
roadmap, and it is on the roadmap. We were informed about it, but it has not been made available to us as a form. Once we receive it, we will review it with compliance, and once everything is approved internally, we will make it available to you as soon as possible.
Right. And I will add on a roadmap item, there is one other thing that I've been looking at, the final versions of it, that's extremely exciting that you guys would get first. But I can't get into it, so it's a bit of a teaser, but I will say it's additional automation at a level you've never imagined. And it's, you guys could probably imagine what we're integrating around that, but I can't say anything just yet, but think AI and think world-changing services. But anyway, we'll talk about more automation.
That's got me interested, Kevin, so I would like to know more.
Give me a call. Yeah. Okay. Okay, any questions?
The next question was, can an advisor sign up for this service individually, or does their firm have to create the account? So it is this service is available at the advisor level. So yes, you can sign up for the service individually as an advisor. To sign up for the platform, I would say that please go to your advisor portal. Whether if you are an IDC Win advisor, go to the IDC Win advisor portal. If you are WFM or WSI advisor, go to each of those advisor portals, and there is more information available onto the advisor portal. There is pricing, there is costs, everything is on the platform. And you will also know how to sign up. You just have to fill up a form and we will be able to sign you up, no problem. And once you have signed up, there would be an onboarding webinar available for you that would be done once a month or hosted once a month by AdvisorStream. I only do insurance at this point. Can I choose articles specific to this? So Kevin, I will let you answer that question.
Sure. So we have, we're always looking at getting additional content. There's insurance content in there. There is insurance as a topic. So just for folks, again, I'll just share my screen quickly because we still got 7 minutes here. So if I go to library, and can you just confirm you're seeing this again, Sash or Rebecca?
Yeah.
Okay. So down here, something I don't often, which I probably should, are all the topics, right? So if you want to drill down on a specific topic, there's two ways to do that. One is here, you just go down to insurance, obviously, and you're going to see age, there we go, insurance, etc. is there. But you can also type for a specific insurance thing in the Elastic search capability, the search bar here. So yes, we do have specific content for insurance. Sash, I will say, and Sash, you can talk about this too, is constantly working and looking and trying to work with us and cooperate and help us to additionally pump up certain areas of content. And that's one of the areas that Sash has asked us to continue to grow. So we will continue. There is insurance content. There always will be. There's just, the reality is less insurance content is written about by New York Times, by Globe and Mail, by National Post. There's just one of those areas where they should write more content. Now, I mentioned something earlier that we're working on, which can write your own content for you in certain areas. And we'll talk about that at a later date, but that's going to be a bit of a game changer around content too.
And
okay.
I do want to say that we have been pushing AdvisorStream and we'll continue working on the insurance content and
Yes.
figure out other ways to enhance that content as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
There are a couple of people who are asking about the cost of the system. So I would say it's going to cost you $125 per month plus taxes. It's not per client. You can send out, once you have signed up or registered for the platform, you can send out as many emails as you want to as many clients as you want. I think the limit per account is 5,000 clients. But it is going to like it is $125 per month plus taxes.
And I'll just let everyone know, you guys have the best pricing in the country, in any country, frankly. The standard rate in the United States is $295 a month USD. So it's you know, that's again was done through Sash's negotiation powers. But anyway.
And I also want to mention that we will be launching eCards module onto the platform. That is something that is not available right now, but
right.
that would be at an additional cost of $15 on top of the $125 that the regular service is available at. What was $15? Oh, $15 is a new eCards module. So you will be able to send electronic cards to wish birthdays, anniversaries, like special events within the lifespan of your clients, or you can send out holiday cards. You can just use everything or do everything from this platform instead of having to create your own holiday cards and everything during the year. Any tools on the platform that can fit for other language other than English? Kevin, you want to take that? I know we haven't launched the French version yet, but
so yeah, we're launching a French version. We actually, it's done. You guys will be seeing it. That'll be at some point here. So yes, we support French fully, and we're not just talking about content. The whole UX, like the whole thing, all client communications, all administrative emails, and you know, all of those things. So the entire, our French approach is completely French, immersive French, everything, whole UX, all content, etc. We do other languages, if that's the question. We can support Spanish. We hope to do a number of languages over the next number of years in a number of countries. Today, Canada first. We're Canadians originally, right? So Canada's first in our mind. So it is, well, actually Rebecca's Irish, but kind of adopted Canadian. Yeah, we do support French today. And there'll be more languages in the future.
Okay. And how many posts are recommended per week?
Good question.
Or per client, per prospect?
So this is my feeling. This is what I think. I think if I, you know, was still working directly at broker dealer, which I worked at when was one of the founders of at Richardson Wealth. But if it was me, I would do 3 a day. Now that's me. I'm an aggressive guy. You know, I would post as much as I could. I would do 3 a day, but 2 a day is probably the really, in my view, I think people have different feelings on this. Once a day is minimum. Okay. So that's seven posts a week. There are slots for 21, 3 a day. I would go with 2 for sure. And here, let me give some reasoning, right? So I show up on your LinkedIn page, and make sure your LinkedIn is connected. That one drives me nuts. But I show up on your LinkedIn page and I see an option of 3 amazing articles, one from Globe and Mail today, a video from The Economist, and an infographic from Harvard Business Review. I'm immediately like, wow, this is great content. This is amazing. And this is free access to Harvard Business Review and whatever ones I said, Globe, Mail, Wall Street Journal, whatever it is. I love that. I show up on someone's digital property, whether that's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or your website, and every day there's multiple high value, credible, hyper current content pieces that I don't want to pay for to choose from. So I would go with more than less, but again, it's not my business, it's your business. Some people think it looks aggressive. I don't think so. When I show up on a website, I'm glad there's great content there, not, wow, they put too much content on today. So that's my feeling. But I hear other people say, I just want to be less, do less. That's for prospects. Remember, you don't know when people are coming to visit your LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. With clients, though, your website is both. It's much more. Your clients know where your website is. They know you. You have their money. They're one of your professionals in your life. So there, maybe you don't need to do 3 a day. Maybe it's 2 because you have so much content there from over the many, many weeks and days of posting. So it's just not as important to have a whole bunch of hyper current content every day. The other thing is clients don't really visit websites all the time. Like, I know people don't want to hear that, but they're already your client. They trust you. They've given you your money. They know you haven't left town. They're getting your weekly communications. They don't need to go check you out and learn about you on your website. So in that case, your website becomes more for your prospects. So in that case, I go back to more posts are better than less. But it really is your business and your choice. But minimum 1 a day.
I would say 1 a day for social media minimum, and once weekly communication, which would be a curated newsletter that goes out to your clients, and the personalized emails, which is like one-on-one emails that you can send to the clients, that would be on need basis. So if you've met with a prospect, maybe it is advisable to follow up with that one-on-one email with an article. Maybe you talked about wine when you connected, and maybe you just say, okay, I came across this article, really liked it, thought about you, thought I'll share, just to take your communication to the next level.
Just quick note, I know we have to go. You just hit on something, Sash, that I didn't bring up, which I should have. Automation is so critical if you want to scale and grow in a very reasonable way with still going to bed at night, But what I would say is that the individualized emails that Sash just talked about, I didn't even mention, they are so powerful. The open rates in them are huge. And we don't automate those, okay? We've thought about it, but at the end of the day, we automate the capturing of leads, or your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, your website, the weekly communication, which is critical. Remember, retention rates, weekly communication, everyone in all countries wants it weekly. But we don't send targeted emails. That's the part where you got a high value client, a center of influence, a guy who creates a lot of referrals for you. You might want to go in and send a targeted email. And then what Sash said is critical. Once you have leads, do not just depend on the weekly communication. Send them a targeted one-on-one email, okay? We've already curated the content for you. We get every single day of the year, or any day, minute, any second of the day, you can hit refresh, and it will tell you at that very moment, here are the 4 best pieces of content to go out to a client or to go out to a prospect. So log in and send them. They're very, very, very powerful. And that's, you can choose the right time for those things. But with that said, I know we're over time. Automate and prosper, right? Okay.
Create capacity. Automation is all about creating capacity. So
yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining. I promise we will be sharing the recording with you guys. And Rebecca has already shared her contact information, but we will send it again to you guys in the email as well, so that you don't miss it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Time is money.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.